Okay, this is the final video documentation for TiddlyJournal, and in this one I'm going to show you how to customize your version of TiddlyJournal. Uh, all the customization options are within the Settings tab here on the sidebar. First off, as I've said before, you can see the Welcome section here. Then under Appearance, you have multiple options to change how TiddlyJournal looks. So the color palette is basically the color scheme for the whole piece of software. So currently it's set to vanilla, but if I change it to twilight, you'll see that it gets darker and some of the colors change in other ways. And there's all kinds of things to play around with. You can also make your own palette by using the editor down here. You can clone an existing one and then tweak it. Also, you can use the Color Play website to design it, and I put a link to that in the written documentation. Under element colors, you can choose the colors of the individual elements of TiddlyJournal. So authors, keywords, um, notes, sources, ideas, and there's also a color for the small icon that appears next to the bibliography tab. Um, and of course, when you change these colors, if I change the color of sources, for example, to this pink color, the buttons for creating sources change. This button changes as well. And there's some other subtler things which change. Oops, I think I pressed the wrong one. I did. Font, you can change the font here, and whichever is basically the way this works is it tries to run the leftmost font, and if it fails, then it runs the next leftmost font. So this is saying it will run Cambria. If Cambria is not installed, it will try Palatino. If that's not installed, it will try Times New Roman. I found that it works. Cambria works on my laptop, but it doesn't work on Mac. So Mac defaults to Times New Roman, I think. Um, but whatever you put at the start of the list will be tried to run. So if I put it Comic Sans MS, put the comma in, it's now in Comic Sans. Um, that's fairly self-explanatory. You just got to get the name exactly right. And finally, theme effects. Let me open up a note so that this is more easy to see. The theme effects, things like the shadow on each note or each element. So the Snow White has this shadow here. Vanilla removes it, so it's a little neater. Starlight puts the shadow back. Everything's in, I think, Courier font, and there's a sort of grainy texture to the background. Seamless completely removes all the borders. And then Heavier is the same as Snow White, but it has bold font in the comments and the summary and ideas and such. Um, under bonus, there are some other options. So we have the animation duration. So if I set this to, so currently, when I close down a note like this, there's a small animation for it leaving the display, and a small animation for it appearing again. If I set the animation duration to 100, it's now going to be 3 times as fast. So it whizzes off to the side like that. And if I set it to 1,000, it will be significantly slower. So now it looks like that. I find 300-ish to be a fairly good number. The default colors is just a list of the colors that TiddlyJournal originally has for its elements, just in case you change them on the Appearance tab, element colors, and you want to go back to what they originally were. And then the default Open tab allows you to select which elements will be open when you open up TiddlyJournal. By default, it's set to the welcome page, but you can change it. So if I wanted it to display Why Only Us, I could, as normal, start typing a link, start typing Why, hit enter, and now if I were to close TiddlyJournal and reopen it, it would display that as soon as I open it. And as it says underneath, you can use, I don't know, rather, you can then put another thing in this list. So if I also wanted to display syntactic structures, I could do two, two open brackets and then start typing that, and then put that in there as well, and it will open both of those in a display. The other option is to click Retain Story Ordering, and this will make it so that saves what you have open, and so when you open it again, it loads those same things. Finally, there's the editor tab. If you know how to use TiddlyWiki, which is the program that this program is built using, then you can use the editor to kind of look under the hood and change things more fundamentally. It's also what I use to actually make the updates for this. So yeah, that's about it. Um, I think after this series of documentation videos, um, everything should be fairly clear, and you should be able to use all the functionality of TiddlyJournal. So I hope you get something out of it. And if you want to let me know how you've got on, if there's any problems, if there's anything you want me to add or fix or change, please do.